Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 7 of data analytics with the career guidance class. So today, the topic will be on conditional functions, lookup functions, and we'll see errors in formulas and auditing formulas. In the previous session, we saw what is reference. Then we worked on text functions, that is basic functions, text function, number functions, and date functions. So today, we'll continue with this function chapter, that is conditional functions, lookup functions, errors in formulas, and auditing the formulas. Right. I have an Excel file. Let me just open that Excel file, which I'll be sharing it with you, where you can use this for practice. All right. First, let's understand what is this conditional functions. So whenever there is a condition, and if you want to get the result, then we can use this conditional functions. For example, I have a table here where I have this order ID, region, category, subcategory, sales, and profit. I have one column here where I need to get the status. And the condition is if the value is greater than 0, then it should be profit, otherwise it should be loss. Let me just filter this data and see if there are any values which are less than 0. You can see that there are so many values which are less than 0. One thing what I can do is I'll go here, I'll say less than or equal to 0 and say, okay, you can see these are the data, say these are the numbers which we should give it as loss. One way is I can go here, select all the values less than 0 and I can type here loss. But what happens if the next data, what we are updating, if there are any other, if this becomes positive, then again I have to go and change this manually. So instead of that, what we do is we'll try to write the formula. Depending on whatever values are there here, I should get the status. Now let's write the formula. If you want to get, say, the result based on this condition, so what I'll do, I'll say equals if. If is the formula which will help us in getting this results. If, let me select this profit value. If this value, that is the value which is in H6 is greater than 0, I'm mentioning the condition. If the value H6 is greater than 0, then I'll say profit. If not, if this condition, if this logical test, if this criteria is true, I'll get this value if true, otherwise value if false. I'll mention loss. You can see that this is greater than 0, have this profit. We'll copy this to the bottom. How to do that? You don't have to Control C and paste it. We can actually double click on this fill handle. See, so wherever you have less than or equal to 0, you will see that it is loss. So all these are loss. Now, if the value changes, let's say I'll make this itself as minus, automatically this should get loss. Now let me change this to positive. You can see that it's profit. So depending on this value, I'm getting the result. This is called as conditional functions. So I apply some condition. Based on that condition, I should get the result. So that is conditional functions. All right. Next, suppose if I have more than one condition to be checked. In this case, I'm checking only one condition. What if I have more than one condition to be checked? Say, I have the condition if the value is greater than or equal to 75,000, then it should be high. If the sales value is greater than or equals to 25,000, it should be medium. If it is less than 25,000, it should be low. Equals, say, first, say if the sales value, this value is greater than 75,000, let's say greater than or equals to, this is called as operators, comparison operators. Whenever I'm using this conditional functions, these comparison operators are used. That is equals, not equals, greater than or equals to, less than or equals to. So we are trying to compare with the value. That is, we are checking the condition. If G6, that is the sales value, is greater than or equals to 75,000. I'm mentioning it as 75,000. If G6 is greater than or equals to 75,000, then I'll say it should be high. Else, I'll mention it as low. Enter. You can see that I have only one condition here. I'm saying G6 is greater than or equals to 75,000. It should be high. Otherwise, it should be low. But here I have one more condition. If the value is greater than or equals to 25,000, then I should have medium. In if condition, I can have only one condition here. See, in if formula, I have the parameter logical test. If true, if false. That means if the condition is true, I'll get this value. If it is false, I'll get this value. Then how will I accommodate this one? That is one more condition. So for this, what we have to do is, see this part, the if, else, whatever is there, this, I'll just remove this for time being. This is the condition. G6 is greater than or equals to 75,000. It should be high. If it is false, then again, I'll check one more condition. I'll say if, one more if I'll give, and I'll say the same value greater than or equals to 25,000, then say medium. If this condition is also false, then we'll say low. Close the bracket. That is for this condition, and one more bracket for the other condition. I'll say int. Now you can see that if I copy this down, wherever the values are between 25,000 to 75,000, it will be medium. Otherwise, we'll have low. That is, which is less than 25,000. This is called as nested if. These formulas, these type of formulas we used to use, before 2013 version. Now, after this 2016 version, we have a new formula called as ifs. So what is this ifs? I'll tell you. Ifs is a formula which can have multiple conditions. We don't have to use if multiple times. Only once I'll say ifs. Now you see how I'll do the same. This formula, what I've written, the same has been optimized. How? Say equals ifs. It lasts for logical test. Always read the parameter. Logical test, that is this value, that is sales value, is greater than or equals to 75,000. This is the condition. If this condition is true, then I'll say high. This is one condition. Now I'll go to second condition. I'll not use again one more if. I'll say this value is greater than or equals to 25,000, then it should be medium. The next condition, this value is less than 25,000, then low. Close bracket, say it. Now if you say this, I'll get the same results here. So this we call it as nested if. That means I'm using multiple if conditions, multiple times if formula we are using. What happens? We might get confused because we'll be using this multiple times. But if you see this, I'm using this function only once, and then it is criteria, result, criteria, result, criteria, result. Right. So when you have multiple conditions to be checked, either I can use nested if or I can use ifs, but I recommend the new formula ifs if you're using 2016 and above. The result is wrong, is it? 1 minute, let's check. How is this wrong? How is that wrong, people? Prasanna, how is it wrong? Can you please explain so that I'll correct the formula? People, did you find anything wrong in this? I think it is right, actually. See? It is right. Check the sales. I think he's checking this profit. Prasanna, see this. I'm checking the sales, not the profit. Okay, don't get confused. So this is what happens. So I'm checking this. Okay, so here greater than 75, that is this one. Okay, then 25,000 to 75,000, that is medium. So if you see this is medium. Then we have this low. Okay, all right. Okay, okay. I think yes, he's taking this profit. Right, it happens. Okay, all right. Next, now just concentrate on this formula. Now what happens? Sometimes we check this condition, okay, for this numbers, right? Sometimes we need to check the condition based on some equations or say some expressions. What is that? Let me just tell you about the scenario. I have an order ID here. In this order ID, I have first two characters. These first two characters, I will take these first two characters, and depending on these two characters, I need to get the country name. If it is CA, I should get Canada. If it is IN, I should get India. And suppose if somewhere, if you have US, then it should be United States. Now, I don't have any column here where separately I have the CA, IN or US or something. I need to get these two characters, first two characters. We know there is a formula that is equals left of this comma 2. So we have learned this formula that is left of this particular cell, and I'm taking first two characters. So depending on this, let me hide this. Okay, for time being, I'll just hide this so that we can have the formula very close. All right. So if you see here, what I did is I created one expression here saying that depending on first two characters, I need to get the result. So here what I'll do, I'll say equals. I can use this if or say ifs. Okay, now we know that ifs this value. Now you see, I'm just using a simple one equals CA. Okay, if B6 equals CA, then I need to have Canada. Next condition, if this value equals IN, then India. If this value equals US, then I'll say United States. All right. If I say enter, you can see that I'm getting the result. This is one way of doing. So what did I do here? I actually first created one column, a new column, where I took this formula left of C6, 2. First, I took this two characters. Then after that, I'm trying to, whatever result I'm getting this B6, I'm checking that and I'm getting this result. What if I don't want this column again to be created? I will use this equation here like this. That means instead of using this one more column, I'm using this expression here only. So wherever I'm referring this B6, I'm just trying to replace this with left of this. Okay, now I don't require this column. I'm using this equation here only. But how many times I'm using? 1, 2, 3 times I'm using enter. I'll get the same result. But if you just see this, how many times, every time I'm actually using this expression here like this, left of C6, 2. What if there are some more like this? So every time I have to go and keep on using this equation. Instead of using this equation, understand, whenever I'm actually using equation, then I can use a formula called a switch. This switch is again a new formula from 2016 and above or in 365. Let me go here. So instead of this if, say ifs, I'll just remove this. So what I'll do, I'll say switch. You can see that it says expression. See, I will select this cell saying that left of this cell, 2. That's all. You don't have to give any results here. Say left of C6, 2. This is the expression. Now I might get the result. Say if it is CA, then it should be Canada. Right? So I have an expression. Now whatever value I'm getting, for that what result I should get. Next, comma. If it is IN, then India. Right. comma. The next, we can either give a default value. Default means if these two conditions are false, then I should take one value. Suppose if you think I don't want to give the default value, you can also give US. I'll show you both. Now I'm giving the condition here, say United States. Close bracket. See, we get same results. Now I don't require this. Now, if you think that I have only two conditions to be checked, and this one I don't require one more condition to be checked, I can use like this as well. That is, we call it as default value. This is also right. But sometimes what happens, we are not so confident. There are, there might be one more country might be coming here. So we can use this US like this. So both are right, actually. You have the default value, you can do that. So this is if conditions. The conditional statements. Right. So we understood the condition statements here. So here we have this if, ifs, and switch. These are actually for comparison, that is checking the condition and then getting the result. Let me take one notepad and tell you, because most of the people actually get confused with the if condition, that is conditional function. See, let me just tell you these conditional functions, okay? There are two things. One is comparison. For that, we have this if, nested if. Nested if is actually not a separate formula, using if condition multiple times. Now we have this ifs and then switch. So what we're doing here, we are trying to compare and then get the result. We're checking the condition, checking comparison, or we'll say check. But if conditions can be used for calculations as well. When I say calculations, right? When I say calculations, then there are formulas like sum ifs, average ifs, sum ifs, average ifs, max ifs, min ifs, and then count ifs. Right? Okay. See, I have these calculations. Let's do this. Go here. Now, let me just hide these. Okay. I have a table here where I need to get the total for each states. My requirement is I should get the total. Okay. Total sales equals, if I say total sales, I'll say sum of the entire range enter. So I'm getting the total. So I'm happy that I got the total, but I want the total only for central, east, south, and west. If you want to do this, then we have to put one condition saying that if it is central, then sum, only for central. So I can do like this as sum, and I have this. Here I'll go central. See, here I have the central, say this one, comma. Then again, I'll go in search of central, comma. If you're doing like this, one thing is it'll take a lot of time. Second thing is you might miss some values, and this is not the correct way. Then what is the correct way? Equals. Let me zoom this. Observe this, okay? Equals sum ifs. There is one more formula called a sum if. Don't use that, just forget that. Use sum ifs, because sum ifs means multiple conditions. You can either use for one condition or multiple condition. Sum ifs, it lasts for some range. Read this. Some range is nothing but the range on which we want to get the total. See, I'm selecting this. The entire range I'm selecting, I'll press F4. Now, you might ask, why should I press F4? Why should I make it absolute? Because I'm actually using the same formula, same range for other regions as well. So you should fix that. Otherwise, the range will get changed. So keep in mind, I should use this reference whenever I am trying to copy the formula either to the next cell or to the next column. Okay. Now, since I'm using this for multiple columns, multiple rows. I'm using this absolute reference. Done. My sum range is done. Read the next parameter, criteria range. What is the criteria range? Criteria range is nothing but the criteria what I'm checking. I'm checking region. So what I'll do, I'll go here. I'll select this region, F4. This again, the range should not change, comma. The criteria is this one. That is, I'm checking West. This one I'll not fix because here the row number should change. That is, the criteria should change. Enter. See, I'm getting the result. That is for central, I'm getting 5,01,239. How to check this? Let's go here. We'll try to filter. I'll apply filter. Here I'll select central. And if I add this, I should get how much? 5,01,233.89. That is, my formula is perfect. Then what I'll do, I'll go here, select this, Control D. See, I'm getting this result. That means I'm checking, first I'm taking this sum range, and then I'm taking this criteria range, and then the criteria. So you can see that we have this sum range, criteria range, and criteria. When I say range, that means a set of cells. When I say criteria, that means I'm checking this. All right. Next, if you want to get the average based on if conditions. All right. So we'll go here. I'll say equals. People, I'll take all your questions in the end. Okay, let me continue the session. You keep your questions, I'll answer in the end. All right, if you want average, what I'll do, I'll say average of, and then I'm selecting this range. So I'll get the average. So this is for the overall range. Now let me go here. So what I'll do, I'll say equals average ifs. The formula, that is sum ifs, average ifs, max ifs, and min ifs, will have the same range selection. The result what I get is different. That's all. Same thing like what we have the sum. I'm selecting some range. Average, I'm selecting some range. So same range, whatever I'm selecting here, same thing. Here it says average range. That is, I'll select the sales, select this average, say F4, comma, and then the criteria range. The criteria range is region. Select F4, comma, and I'll select the criteria. Say enter. See, this is the average for each regions. Max ifs, again, same thing. See, max ifs, max range, this one. Criteria range, this one. Region, F4, comma, criteria. See, min ifs, minimum value in that particular region. Say min ifs, select minimum range. So the range is same actually. The result what I get is depending on the function. Say criteria range F4, comma. All right. So sum ifs, average ifs, max ifs, and min ifs, these actually will calculate and will give me the results here. Count ifs. Here we are just trying to count. That is, how many times central is repeating, east is repeating, south and west are repeating. Equals count ifs. We just see here we don't have count range because we are directly counting the range, whatever the criteria is. Criteria range, I'll go to this region, see, F4, comma. You can see that I have 17 times central repeating, east, south, and west all are repeating 17 times. All right, this is for only one criteria. What if I have multiple criteria? Let me go here. This time I want to get the result for region and category. Say equals sum ifs. Okay, so same selection. We'll go here and we'll select this sales, say F4, comma, criteria range. First criteria. See, this is what first we should see the criteria. The first criteria, what I'm checking is the region. So the first criteria range will be region. F4, comma, and I'm selecting this criteria. See, it should be like a pair. criteria range, criteria. So one criteria is done. So criteria range, criteria. Then second criteria. The second criteria will be category. Okay, you should know what actually I'm checking. Say category, comma, and I select this category. Close bracket, say enter. Now, if you say this, have the central and office supplies, I'm getting the sum as 3.7 lakhs or something. Let me copy this down. So the entire, the criteria, whatever is there, it's like central office supplies, east office supplies. Can we interchange the criteria? So you can do that as well. First, you can select criteria and then region. That is also fine. But make sure that whatever range I select, the criteria range, immediately I should have that criteria. So it shouldn't be like I'm selecting this category here and then I'm giving the criteria as region cell. You cannot do that. So if you are selecting category range, then it should be the criteria should be category only. The category only. So whatever range you select, for that the category should be given. So if you see, now have this multiple conditions, so you can have the multiple conditions like this. Let's do this for average if, say average ifs. Then I have this average range. Same thing. Let's go here, select this, comma, and criteria range. Say first criteria, that is I need to check region, say F4, comma, and I'll select this region, comma. Next category, let's go here, select this category F4, comma, and I select this category. Enter. See, I'm getting this average. Copy this down. Max ifs. Max ifs. Max range. Let me select this max. Then criteria, region. See, selections are same actually, comma, and then we'll select the criteria. Next, criteria range F4, comma, copy this down. Equals min ifs. Next, the range we'll select F4, comma, and then we'll select region, comma, this region. Then category, select the category F4, comma, cat. See, this is the minimum value in each region. Then again, count ifs. Count ifs directly will go to this criteria range, that is region, comma, region. Category range. Let's go here and I'll select this category. See. So this is how actually we can use this if condition. So here I mentioned one is comparison, or you need to check, then I'll use this if, nested if, ifs and switch. This will compare. Then I have this sum ifs, average ifs, max ifs, min ifs and count ifs. These are for calculations. Depending on conditions, I can do the calculations. Right. The next one is the lookup functions. Most of the people actually feel this lookup functions are very difficult, very confusing, advanced, so many things they'll tell. But I'll tell you, lookup functions or any other functions also, they are very easy, but you should understand for what purpose actually we are using it. All right. Now, when I say lookup functions, there are many lookup functions. Let's discuss about VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, index, offset, and match. First of all, let's understand the purpose of this lookup. Let me just mention it. Lookup functions. Okay. Why they are used? To search a value. That's all. Lookup functions are actually used for searching a value. Now let me go here. Let's take an example. I have one customer ID. Depending on this customer ID, I should get the customer name. So this is what I want. Depending on the customer ID, I need the customer name. So what I'll do, I'll say equals. Or let's say I'll go here. Instead of formulas, let me go and search. That is KD16270. I'll be keep searching here. I don't know where it is. So I got this here. 16270. I will copy this. I'll put it here. Done. Now, what if I change this? Say, again, I need to go here, copy this, and I'll put it here. So understand, if I want to get the customer name depending on this customer ID, then every time I have to go and keep on manually updating it. Copy and paste. Should not do that. Why? Because it will take a lot of time. It will take more efforts. Instead, what I'll do is I will write a formula. Now, depending on the data search, what I do, I should use the formula. So we have, say, VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, index, offset. And now we have one more formula, that is XLOOKUP. Let me go back. First, I should see how am I searching. Depending on that, I should use one of these formulas. I have the data. The search is happening vertically. That means the customer ID is vertical like this. So if you want to get the customer name, I'm searching vertically, that is from top to bottom. Understand this. If I'm searching a value, when I say searching a value, that means this value. That is called as lookup value. In a table, so this is lookup table, that is where am I looking? What am I looking? Where am I looking? When I'm actually looking for something, how am I looking? I'm looking from top to bottom. So you should ask the questions yourself. These things in the beginning, you'll get, some time to understand, but once you are aware of these things, then you don't have to bother. Automatically, you'll know which formula to use. I'm telling this in detail because you should understand. Some people actually get confused with this lookup formulas. So how to use the lookup formulas? First, we should understand what am I looking. That is, I'm looking for this DV1305. Where am I looking? I'm looking in this table. How am I looking? From top to bottom. That means if I'm searching a value by another value vertically, then I'll use VLOOKUP. Vertical lookup, open bracket. Now, once I open the bracket, make sure that you'll understand the parameters. First is lookup value. I told you, what am I looking? This one. See, I'm using only one cell. I'm least bothered about fixing the reference now. If it was like for multiple columns, then I have to use. Say E6, I'm looking. That is, what am I looking? Next is table array. Where am I looking? Understand, table array. Where am I looking? In this table. Let me select the entire table, comma. So I didn't fix this table because I'm not copying this to second column or say towards my right side or bottom, anywhere. Column index. Which column I need? Suppose if I get this value, which column I need? Say I have only two columns here, column 1, column 2. I want customer name, I'll say 2, comma. Now here it says true or false. True is approximate match, false is exact match. When I say approximate match, usually this will use for numbers to get, the values from a range. So let's not use this true. I'll use this false. This false can also be replaced with 0. Okay. So either I can say false or I can say 0, close the bracket and say enter. See, I'm getting this value. Let me copy any one of the customer IDs and put it here. See, automatically it will change. Let me go here. See, you copy anything and you just paste it here. You can see that I'm getting the result here. So how is that happening? Because I'm trying to search vertically. That is, the customer ID is arranged vertically in this table. And I'm saying, get me second column if you find this value. All right. When I'm using this lookup formulas, few things actually you should keep in mind. What is that? Say I have this 2 columns and here I'm searching for customer ID. When I'm searching by using this VLOOKUP, make sure that the lookup value should be in the first column of the table array. Table array is what? This one. So it should be in the first column because depending on the first column only, next all the columns will be taken. All right. Second thing, make sure that the IDs are unique. Say, for example, I'll take this KB16585. What if the same ID was there in the beginning? See, While it is searching from top to bottom, if it is finding the value in the beginning only, it will stop here only, it will not go further. So keep this in mind. When I'm using lookup formulas, that is VLOOKUP, make sure that the ID is in first column and it is not duplicated. Okay, this is one example I've given for VLOOKUP. Let's see more examples. Now I have one table here where I'm trying to explain you about how VLOOKUP will work, HLOOKUP will work, index and offset will work. First, let's take this VLOOKUP. I want to get the value from this field. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, say totally 5 columns. I want to search 2015 to 2018 sales value depending on subcategory, and I'm assuming that the subcategories are unique. Equals VLOOKUP, because the data what I'm searching, understand, is top to bottom, that is subcategory is arranged top to bottom. VLOOKUP, the lookup value is this. This time I'm copying the formula towards my right hand side as well. I'll fix this. Otherwise, I would have not bothered. Comma, table array, this table array. Press F4 because I'm using this range everywhere, that is in the next columns. I'm fixing this, comma. 2015, say this one. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll say 2, comma 0, close bracket, say enter. See, Alt 1407. Let me copy towards my right hand side. Now here I have this 2, comma 0. What I'll do, I'll go here, I'll make it as 3, comma 0. Then here I'll say 4, comma 0. Then here I'll say 5, comma 0. See, let me change this. I've just given one validation here, data validation, that is list. I'll tell you how to do this in the next session when you come to this data validation. See, if I change this, automatically this will get changed like this. So how is this happening? That is because of the formula what I've written. So VLOOKUP means it is searching like this from top to bottom. HLOOKUP, it is similar to VLOOKUP, but the search will happen horizontally like this, left to right. Now I want to get the result here depending on this 2015, 16, 17 and 18. They're arranged horizontally. Now the search will happen based on these values. If I'm searching horizontally, then I'll be using HLOOKUP. Either I can use VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. Depending on the direction I'm actually looking for value, I should use either VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. I'm using this HLOOKUP. It lasts for lookup value. Now I should select this one because I'm searching the values depending on this years, which is in the columns. Comma, table array. Let me select this table array. I'll press F4. Now it lasts for row index number. Previously, in VLOOKUP, it was asking for column index number. Now, if it finds any of these columns, then I will go and search for the row index number, say 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll say 4, comma 0. Approximate match and exact match. Here I need exact match. Say enter. See, Control R. Now let me change this to accessories. Not so accessories. For this accessories, I should change this to 1. We'll make it dynamic. I'll tell you how to make it dynamic as well. Like, oops, sorry. They should be 2 actually, not. See, this is 1 and this is 2. So accessories, it is 2. I'll tell you how to make it dynamic as well. So this is VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. VLOOKUP means vertically I'm searching. HLOOKUP means horizontally I'm searching. Next, I have index and offset. Now, index and offset, these are also lookup formulas, but they actually look for value based on the index number. That is, they're not bothered, which value it is. See, I want the first value. It will give me this value here, the first row value. I want 10. 10th row value, it will go here, it will give me somewhere here, 10th row value. Depending on the index, it will give me the value. Let's say, I'll say equals index. Okay, the formula is index. It lasts for the table array. Let me select this table array, this one. I'm not selecting the heading because from wherever I select the table array, from there, the index starts a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this, comma. I want the row number 1, that is this one, accessories, comma. The column is 1, I'll say 1, close bracket. See, I'm getting this accessory. Let me copy this towards my right hand side. And here, I'll change this to 2 now. See, this is, sorry, not the row number, I'm sorry, column number we should change. Change the column number, second column value, then third column value, fourth column value, and fifth column value. Let me copy the formats. Yeah, see. Suppose if you want the second row value, I'll go here, I'll change this to 2. Then this will also get changed to all the row numbers will get changed to 2. Offset is again similar to index. But the thing is, I don't have to select the entire range. I'll say equals offset. Okay, it lasts for reference. See, I'm not selecting the entire table. I'll just select only this reference. F4, fix this value, comma. Now, the index actually starts from 0, not from 1. Say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I'll do, I'll say, I want this accessories, I'll say 1. The reference is this. The row number is 0, 1, 2, 3. So I'll say 1, comma. I want the column number. So the column number will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. I will say 0, enter. See? Let me copy this towards my right hand side. And here, I will make this column number as 1, then say 2, then I'll say 3 and 4. Let me copy this formats and I'll just paste it here. Okay, see, so this is the lookup formulas. Say VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, searching vertically or horizontally. Index and offset. Based on some index number, I'll be using this index number. Right. Now, if you see this, I was changing the index number here, say 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I'll do, instead of doing this, I will type say 2, 3, 4, and 5. These are the column numbers. So instead of this 2, what I'll do, I will select this. So that I don't have to go and keep changing the column numbers. I copied this now, see, 2, 3, 4, and say 5. Now imagine I will rearrange this column name. That is, I'll make it as 2018, 2017, 2016, and 2015. If I do this, the numbers are wrong actually, because if you go here and see accessories, 2018, it should be 15,672. So what I have to do? Again, I have to go and change this to 5. Now I'm getting this result properly. So if you want to get the column numbers dynamically or row numbers dynamically, then I have to use match function. Equals, see, equals match. Match is a function which will give me the index number. Now I want the index number of 2015. Say I'll select this lookup value, comma. The lookup array is this. Select only one row. You should not select the entire table because I need only index for the columns, comma, 0. That is exact match. See, I'm getting this 5. Let me copy this towards my right hand side. Now you just observe, I'll change this to 2016. See, automatically this will change. How it is changing? It is changing because I'm using this match function. Automatically the column will change. The column number will change. See, 2018. See, 2015. We change anything. So what happens? Depending on this value, the column number will be taken here. And I'm referring that here in the VLOOKUP formula. So this is how actually we should do the dynamic values. Now here, if you see, I'll change this accessories to bookcases. This is not changing. Why? Because the row number is fixed here. I made it as 2. What I'll do, I'll say equals match. Select this bookcase. I need the index number here, comma, and I'll select the index number from here. F4, comma, 0. See, I'm getting this index number. I'll go here. Instead of this 2, I will select this value, F4, and say enter. Now, if I copy this towards my right hand side, you just observe, I'll go here, I'll change this to envelopes. So what happens when I say envelopes? The index will change, and here I'm referring this index, all the other values will get changed. Let me change this to accessories. See, I'm getting this one. So likewise, we can use this lookup functions for searching the values. If you want to make the index number dynamic, or if you want to get the index numbers, then use match function. Right. Next, we have a new formula called as XLOOKUP. So what is XLOOKUP? Let me tell you. XLOOKUP means, suppose I have this VLOOKUP. I'm actually checking the value that is from top to bottom. And always it will be from top to bottom only. And the column should be in the first column only when I'm actually looking for a value. But XLOOKUP, you can have the customer ID in this case. See, I can have anywhere. So it doesn't mean that it should be in the first column only. Say equals XLOOKUP. See the parameters. There are many parameters, but they're all simple. I'll tell you what. First is lookup value, exactly like what we did in the VLOOKUP. So I'm selecting this customer ID. So this will be my lookup value, comma. The next one is lookup array. See, it is not asking for table array. It is asking for lookup array. When I say lookup array, only one column I should select. See, I'm selecting from here. Either I can select from here or from here. I'll say F4. Fix this. Comma. Return array. What is that I need to return? This one. F4. Comma. If value is not found, I'll say it should be 0. If the ID is not found, make it 0. And now it lasts for exact match or something. So all these options, just ignore all this. Use this exact match because I need exact match, comma. It lasts a search first to last or last to first. If I say first to last, it is exactly like VLOOKUP, that is top to bottom. We can also search from last to first as well. So here we have both the directions, top to bottom or bottom to top. In this case, I'll say top to bottom. Close bracket, say enter. See, I'm getting the result here. Right. So here you can see I'm getting this result. Though the column is in second column, the customer ID, still we get the result. If it was VLOOKUP, it has to be in the first column itself in the table array. So this is XLOOKUP. So XLOOKUP is very easy. So it is like you are just selecting only one column here as a lookup array. Depending on that lookup array, then I can get the result column as well. Okay. So these are the lookup functions. So just classify it. Lookup functions are used for searching the value. VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP will search a value by a value depending on the directions. Index and offset will search a value depending on index number. And XLOOKUP is similar to VLOOKUP, but here we don't have to select the entire range. Okay, so these are the lookup functions. And we have match, wherein I can get the index number for all these functions. We can get the index number. Here we're not using index. So for all these 4 functions, we can use this index number, which we get from match function. Okay, right. Next one is errors in the formula. I'm writing a formula. I'll get some errors. So why do we get this error? I'll tell you. Let me go here. I have a number here. Let's say 2 numbers equals this value divided by this value. When I'm dividing, you can see that I'm getting a result. But if this value is 0, see, I'll get division error. Whenever I get this division error, that means a number is getting divided by 0. This is division error. So any number getting divided by 0 or a blank, then I'll get this division error. NA, not available. This error we get when I'm searching for a value. Just now we did this VLOOKUP. When I'm searching for a value, and if that value is not available, then I'll get this NA error. Say equals VLOOKUP, select this lookup value, comma, table array. Let me take this table array. Okay. This is the table array. F4, comma, I'll say 2, comma, 0. See, mobile is not available. Let me go here. I'll say arts. Is there? What is that we have? Art, not arts. Sorry. Art. See, I have the value. If I don't have that value, say arts, see, then I'll get this NA. So if I get that NA, that means the value what I'm looking for is not available. Next, reference error equals VLOOKUP. Let me tell you what this error is. And I'm looking for this value, comma, I want 2015 value. So what I'll do, I'll go here. I'll select only these two columns, F4, comma 2, comma 0. Am I getting the result? Yes. But just observe, I'll copy this towards my right hand side. I'm getting this 2016. Okay. Now, when I want this, okay. Now here, what I'll do, let me just fix this. Right? I'll go here and I'll change this to 3. I'm getting this reference error. Why? Because I have selected only 2 columns and I'm trying to search third column value, wherein it will not happen because the table array has got only 2 columns and I'm trying to search third column. So in that case, we will not get proper result. We'll get the error, that is reference error. That is, we are not having the proper reference. All right, next, null error. Null means nothing. Say equals this value plus this value. I'm getting the result. But imagine while actually typing, I might miss this plus and say enter. See, I'll get this null value. Name error. Name error we get when we're actually using a wrong function name. Equals sum of. Okay, it says 300. Suppose while typing this sum, I would have typed Sam. Okay, by mistake. See, there is no function called as Sam. Then I'll get this name error. So whenever you get this name error, that means your function is actually wrong. The function name is wrong. Value error, say equals, I'm trying to do some calculation. Let's say I'm saying this divided by, instead of selecting this, I would have selected a text, enter. See, so whenever I'm doing some calculation and while selecting the cell, instead of selecting a number column, I would have selected the text column, then I'll get this error. Equals find, let's say I'm trying to find Z in this particular column. See, I'll get value error. So we get this value error. We saw this in the yesterday's session. Value error. We get this value error when we try to find some character which is not available. Num error. We get this num error when the calculation, the result what I'm getting after calculation is too high. Say this value to the power of this. See, I'm getting 100. I'll say 1000, I'll get the result. If I go here and make it 30, I'll get the result. But imagine I have a huge number. Okay. See, very difficult. It's a huge number actually. Then we'll get this num error. So whenever you get these errors, try and understand and see how we can actually correct them. Okay, so this is errors in the formulas. This is nothing to practice, but you just keep in mind, understand, when we get these errors, what should we actually do? Why these errors are actually occurring. Right. Next, auditing of the formulas. So what is auditing? Auditing means checking. Now, for example, let's go here. I have one table here. I want to check this value. So this one, I have this 12%. So which are all the cells actually it is using to get this 12%? Go to this formulas. Here I have this auditing. Click on this trace precedence. See, to get this 12%, I'm using this value and this value. You can see that arrow mark. I'll remove these arrows. I'm getting this 1242, some percentage, no, some high percentage is there. I'm not satisfied, or I have a doubt why it is coming like this. Trace precedence. See, it using these two columns and something is happening here. I'll go and I'll check that. Let me remove this. Let me select this value and I'll say trace precedence. I'm getting this some 6% trace precedence. See, it is asking something because now I think I'm actually using the reference in another sheet. Right click or double click, select the cell and say OK. See, it is taking me to another sheet. That means if you're trying to check the value, the dependent or the precedence, if it is in a different sheet, you'll get an arrow mark like this with a sheet like this. So you can double click on this arrow, you'll get this reference and then select that and say, okay, it will take me to that particular reference. Right. So this is for precedence. That means where we have the formula. So this formula is there. So which all cells we have used for reference. Let me take this cell. So static value. I want to know this cell is used in which all cells formula. Dependence. See, this one cell is used in all these formulas. So wherever I have this result, I'm using this one cell. So if I do one change with this, see, all the other values will get changed. This is dependent. Precedence means I'm selecting this value, the formula, and I'm checking to get this result in this formula, which all cells I'm used. Dependent means the value here is used in which all formulas to get the results. Okay. So if you think you want to show the formulas, here have the show formulas. Click on this. You can see that the entire sheet will get expanded like this, so that you will get the cells. Wherever there is formula, you will not get the result, but you will get the formula like this. So it is expanding. Right. So this is about auditing the formula. Just trying to check how we are getting the results or which all formulas have used, which all cells have used to get the results. So this is about conditional functions, lookup functions, errors in formulas, and auditing the formulas. Okay, right. So this is what we have for today. So now I'll take your questions. I think there are few already some questions are there. So let me take those questions. Right. First is Pratik is asking how to find more than 10 countries. So what is asking is here in the conditional functions, Pratik, you're there? Pratik, PM, you're there? Right. Anyways, this question is how to find more than 10 countries. So here I have only 3 countries. So I use this if conditions. If it is more than, more countries, say 5, 10 or 20 or 100, whatever. So what I'll do, I will not go with if conditions that time. Okay. So in that case, I'll use this VLOOKUP. How? First, I'll take this equation and then I'll try to search by using VLOOKUP. For that, I'll have a table here. So instead of going here, say here, the if conditions, what I've used, let me show you. Okay, the if conditions, what I've used here, that is, I've used a switch here. Say, if it is CA, it's Canada, IN, India. So what I'll do, in that case, I'll create one table like this, CA, Canada, IN, India, then US, say, United States. So likewise, I'll create one table and I'll keep it. Then what I'll do, I'll go here, instead of this switch, we can use this, say, equals VLOOKUP. This is my lookup value. We can use the equation also if you want, comma, then I'll select this table. F4, comma 2, comma 0. See, you can use like this answer. Okay, Pratik, you got Pratik, you got the answer. Okay, then Santosh S is asking, we can also use subtotal. Yes, see, there are so many ways what we can do. People, what I'm actually teaching is depending on the topics. So, just now we saw this if conditions, we can use lookup functions, or we can use conditional functions. So we can use any kind of function. There are so many functions depending on your, comfortability, depending on the experience what we have, whichever formula you feel easy, then you can use it. Hide formula. So Bharat is asking, if you hide the formulas, will auditing show formula? If it is hidden, okay, so it will not show. It'll just point out the arrow, but it will not, because it's already hidden, so it won't actually be the appropriate for having this precedents or dependents. All right. Any other questions quickly? Right. No questions. Okay, fine. So finally, so before we close the session, sir, many times we download data from internet and we try to apply some formula by adding few column. When we press enter, we get formula and not the value. Any specific reason? 1 minute. Let me understand your question, Zamir. Many times we download data from internet, and when we try to apply some formula by adding a few columns, when we press enter, we get the formula, not the value. Okay. So Zamir, what you do in this case, okay, go to this format cells. When you go to this format cells, usually what happens, this will be in general or it will be as a text. Okay. If it is in text, it will be in text. Your condition, because I have faced this, 90% it will be in text. Go and change this to number or general. Okay. Try to change this to number and see, you will get that formula. Because if it is text, see, if I have a formula, if I'll change this to text, let me see if this works actually. It's not working. So it becomes something like this, correct? Zamir will get the result like this, correct? Yeah. Change that to general and see. It will actually work. Otherwise, double click and see if you have any space, something like that. Or once you double click and then say enter, your, the problem should be solved. See, I made it as text. Now it's not happening. Let me go here. Let me change this to general or number. See, it's changing. Okay, try that. Right, people. So we're getting late. So before we close this session, the question as usual, how was today's session? Now you take 1 minute. So I've taken so much of time. Now you tell me, how was this session? Quickly, all of you, should be prepared to answer. Good. Good. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. I cannot call all your names, but thanks to everyone. So this 1 minute is for me. Okay. So all the time I'll be speaking this 1 minute. I want you guys to tell about the session. Thanks. Anupama is saying the way you explain is really awesome, sir. Thank you. I actually do this by passion. I actually very much passionate about training. Okay. Okay. Zamir is saying excellent session, sir. Learned new formula which I never used before. Also understanding meaning and call. Good, Zamir. A lot of things to learn. Okay. A lot of interesting things in the coming session. We'll also have the dashboard creations by using this pivot tables and all. I'll tell you how to create dashboard as well. Okay. Tomorrow's topics are so eager, Gopi. So tomorrow's topic, I think it should be what sorting and filtering. crystal clear. Very good, Vishwan. So tomorrow we'll learn about sorting and filtering. Okay, right, people. Thank you so much. So see you guys tomorrow with more interesting topics. All right. Bye, people. Take care, all of you.